All right, so that's the aircraft. Um, let's go ahead and fly it. Well, I guess we better get it into position to actually fly. And we'll take this thing out for a spin. Now you will notice I deliberately took the bombs off. Two 100-pound bombs will contribute next to nothing for the uh, ground attack role, in my opinion. However, the extra speed will make it more valuable as a heavy fighter, since your opposition is going to be other XP 50s and P-38Js, or Fs I should say. I think that's right. You're going to need all the speed you can get. We're also going to have to, with the idea of advancing the channel's output, we're going to be using some video software to join two videos together. We'll see how that turns out. Alright. Now I very cleverly did not note what the altitude parameters of the aircraft were, so I don't know. And we have a bow fighter to start off with. And that takes care of that. Okay. Right around 6,500 feet. Now, as nice as all that was, we need to find out, we're going to want the military base. As a viewfighter killer, it's pretty darn good. You're more maneuverable than it does. It does have superior firepower. I lost pretty badly in that exchange, though he did not. And there is a he lost out in the end, obviously. You've got very good boost on this aircraft, which I'm going to use to get up on this DO-17, 217. And that's you can get rid of the fire. And that takes care of that. And there's a JU-88. You need to get a little closer than that. The 20 millimeters have decent range on them, but they're not that good. And right about now. All right. Now I don't have a whole lot of hit points left on this thing. That's okay. I know how pathetic the rear gunner on a JU-88 is. Not real handy. And we have an A6M2, early 0. Just exactly what a boom and zoomer should do. And what it shouldn't do is try to get into a turning contest with that 0. So we're going to boost up and away. Get some range. And see if we can hit this AM65. And boost away. Alright. We got the rocket base is what I really wanted, but we need to go see about the mining base. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, we don't have any repair facilities. And we want that mining base. There's a BF-110 at considerable altitude. Again, we have boost, so we'll use it to try to get him within range. We did, and we'll begin to pepper him a little bit. So we're obviously a little faster, and I think we have a little bit of a maneuverability edge. We do. Regen time. But we do have a base now. And quickly get back up to it. We'll go to battle. And you'll notice even though we have 3 bases we're losing, and the reason we're losing is because they have the, well, we have it now, but they had the mining base. And of all the captures, the one you want the most, 209 V4. That aircraft has always impressed the heck out of me, flying against it. I got somebody on my tail, obviously. And everybody and their brother. Let's go ahead and take care of the fire. Use some boost here to see if I can't fly myself out of trouble. There we go. And apparently I'm the only person around there. So, yeah. It's a very good at Tier 6 boom and zimmer. You're going to do very well in this aircraft. If you decide you want to purchase a premium aircraft, you can do a lot worse than the XP-50. Despite my being destroyed early, that has a lot more with my choices, tactical choices, than it did anything else. Came up number one, won the uh, uh, won the battle. That's all that matters. Okay, so you'll see this over and over and over again with heavy fighters. They do not turn well. A 10-second turn time would be phenomenal. Typically 13, 14 seconds is much more common, and there are aircraft that do and don't deserve it. I suspect that the F-7F Tiger Cat was far better than a 360-degree turn. I don't know that. Okay, but this is a very good performance. 7 aircraft killed, 2 assists, and 2 sectors captured. Team score, obviously earned it. Okay, so final thoughts on the XP-50. It's got effective guns. It's got a long reach because of the twin 20 millimeters. It's a relatively fast aircraft for its tier. Now, if you get up tiered and you're facing halves, sevens, you're going to get disabused of that notion fairly quickly, but it would still do well in that fight. Other things that come to mind, your upgrades are going to be important to you. Your number one purchase for this should be the improved aircraft polish 2 or 3. I guess it's 3. You can consider improved flaps. I haven't pulled up the survival points on this, I don't think. Yeah, 300, which is pretty decent already. But, another 15% on 300's not that big a deal. So I would say if you're going to go spend money on that, I would spend money on the aircraft polish, improved flaps. To me, it's going to be an open question. The things that come into mind very quickly are the improved reflector sight, get the most use out of your guns. That may not be very important here because you notice they're on a very tight vector already, so you don't have to worry about dispersion nearly as much. Well, you always have to worry about dispersion, but you don't have to worry about cones. And, convergence zones, I should say. What's a convergence zone? Well, when you string your guns out, if you did like a lot of aircraft do along the outer wing panels, then you have to bring them into a cone where they can be effective. And they discovered that through trial and error over time. Originally, they just kind of let them put them in a loose pattern and so as to improve the chances of getting a hit. Well, that worked to a degree, but what you really got was a shotgun effect, and you might get 3 or 4 pellets in the target instead of nothing. But the other downside of it was that even if you're on target, you got the same effect. So if you converge the guns to fire at 300-400 yards, which was typical, then you got a very neat effect indeed, and all the fire conversion on that central point, and you can quickly tear an aircraft to pieces. The Soviet Union never agreed with that, and for the most part, tried to stay away from it. Their arguments were that when you string all that weight along the wings, you retard the rate of roll. They're right, by the way. And their other argument was, I'd rather have a few guns in the nose coming straight out because I don't have to worry about conversion zones and I can hit from much farther out. Now, for those of you that have a doubt, there's another aircraft out there called the P-38 that had all its guns in the nose. And the results were that they were picking off aircraft at 1,000 yards. Think about that. That being said, not everybody could pull that off, but the pilots that were really good shots swore by it. One Major Richard Bong said that had he gone to the Advanced Gunnery School, Air Force's Advanced Gunnery School, earlier in his career, he would have doubled his kill count, and the man shot down 40 aircraft. Nor was he was a kind of self-effacing gentleman who wasn't given to a lot of boasting, as opposed to his counterpart, the second highest U.S. ace in history, which is Tommy McGuire, who is acknowledged as being a bit of a jerk towards his fellow pilots. But that being said, he was still a very effective flight leader. So you take it what people are people. So that's the advantage of having a nose-mounted type of arrangement. Later on, the guns got so powerful that you didn't need to have 8 guns anymore. And if you see the flapjack video that will come out the day after tomorrow, you'll note that this is a gift aircraft. I always prioritize those when somebody gives them to me because I don't want to be ungrateful. I want to acknowledge it as quickly as I can. And I want to, again, thank ExploratorOne for the aircrafts. So I'll put this out first thing in the morning. I want you to... and then there's an aircraft, the final for the flapjack. Now I'm still going to have, we have to grind these things to 3.3 million silver, and ungodly amounts, 175,000 experience points, I think, to get to Tier 9. So you're going to have to see some of these aircraft more often if I want to put out daily content. That being said, but that one will show you the M39 cannon. And so what happened with that was that these, as aircraft speeds went up, the amount of time that a aircraft spent in your actual gun sight was going down. So where in World War I somebody might be on your tail for 6, 7, 8 seconds, that was shrinking down to 1 or 2 seconds. Well, if that's the case, then the reasoning went, and it turned out to be true, by the way, is you want the maximum amount of rounds per minute going out that barrel because you're only going to get a few shots, a few seconds at best, and you better do the maximum amount of damage possible. And there's another way to go at it. The Soviet Union went with, if you're going to get a few seconds, then you better hit it with the biggest gun possible. So they typically would have 23 millimeters, and usually something like a 37 millimeter cannon, all grouped around the nose, and so that you may not only hit the aircraft once or twice, but that could be enough, and that was also true. Later in aircraft armament, you got things also like the M39. They had 2 successor or rival designs, I should say. The British and the French came out with the Aden and the Difa cannons, respectively. And along with the M39, they all had the very similar designs. The U.S. wanted more rapid fire, wanted faster velocities, and so they went with a 20 millimeter that moved at 3,300 feet per second. Meters, that's 10.30 meters per second. The French and the British went with 30 millimeter cannons, which were much faster, or not faster, but much heavier rounds. And one of the things that I found out about reading is that caliber size goes up by the cube in gun design. And I say guns, cannons, autocannons, naval guns, artillery. It's true of all of them. The difference between a 100 and a 200 millimeter gun, the size of the projectile, goes up by the cube, not even by the square, by the cube. So it's to the third power. And so it makes a huge difference. So if you've ever seen a DIFA shell, it is humongous. It also goes out at a very fast rate. And I think they had the right answer. 12 to 1,500 rounds per minute. And you could also kick it down in a lot of the designs down to 750 for a ground attack, because you don't need to be spewing out through your entire range when a couple of dozen cannon shells will tear up just about any target. All right, so that will wrap this up. I'm going to have the fun of trying to put this video together in 2 parts, and I'll have to review it to be sure. So if it is delayed by 1 day, you'll know why. Okay, let's wrap this up. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like the video and to subscribe. I desperately need subscribers. You have a great day.